Right.
Mhm. Okay, hello, good evening, East Africa, good evening, Uganda, Kampala. Here we are again with our Saturday to 8 p.m. Sports uh, time and sports coaching, career coaching. We're trying to see how we can empower the sports personnel, the sports people in our country, in our region. And as usual, we have our guest, Mr. Hamza Junju, the Express CEO and the chairman FUTSO, as well as a certified International Olympics Committee sports administrator. Mr. Hamza, welcome again, please.
I'm glad to be here this week again talking sport.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, last week we talked about something very important. We introduced a new series. We want to look at emotional intelligence, but not in the general context. Emotional intelligence for a sports person specifically, because we need to narrow down and see how we can help these people. They have unique challenges that require their emotional intelligence to be a little bit higher to be able to be professional sports people. And last week we looked at something very important, the introduction of emotional intelligence, something I'm going to ask you to review a little bit for our viewers who have just joined. And we looked at self-esteem. So we shall need to go over that very fast. Then today, like we promised our viewers, we shall be talking about self-management, which definitely is rooted deeply into self-esteem, understanding self-awareness, and understanding how that works helps you understand self-management or how to handle yourself under testing circumstances or new challenges. So, Mr. Hamza, how can we remind our viewers about what we covered last week?
So we introduced this series as per emotional intelligence in sport. And what we need to understand is that sports persons, players, athletes are also human beings and react to situations in line with the emotions. So we realize that we, the people who follow sport, want to see these people when they are a little bit perfect.
Sorry about that. We shall bring Mr. Hamza back.
They
Yeah.
must be able to do everything within their powers to attain the best results. But we realize
We,
they are also
excuse,
susceptible.
excuse me.
Yes.
I think we lost you for a few seconds. If you may please come back, come again.
Okay, sorry. We introduced this series of emotional intelligence in sport because we are trying to show the world and people that sports persons, one, are people that react to different situations in different ways. But now we people who manage sportsmen must understand how to manage these people better to handle their emotions, because all over the world what we want from them is almost a perfect performance. We, the people who watch sport, want these people to perform to the best. But the
Mhm.
managers of the game and the players must understand this concept and pass it on to players so that they are able
Mm.
to manage their emotions to bring out the best performance we expect out of them. So last
Mhm.
week we looked at majorly self-awareness, where we are looking at a player understanding himself. And after understanding himself, he must be able to adapt using his very behavior and characters to adapt to situations that will bring in better performance and positive results. And after analyzing what a player or an athlete must be aware of in line with his character and the surrounding, today we move on to another aspect of emotional intelligence, that is now self-management. How a player, the athlete or sports person, must manage himself to bring the best positive performance and result as expected from people around him. That's what
Mhm.
we are discussing today, and that is the recap for last week.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Hamza. That was a very nice recap. We have a few of our friends who have just joined. Zuleika is asking if she's late. You're not late, my dear. We are just starting. Aisha Taha, thanks for viewing. Mariam Ba and everyone else who is watching. We are going to be discussing self-management, as Mr. Hamza said. What can we say about self-management, Mr. Hamza? How would someone, a sports person, how should they understand this concept?
So we are looking at majorly two aspects here. I'll start with emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
As I told you in the beginning, that emotional intelligence involves a player dealing with the many expectations and demands of the sport. So playing sports or any team sport like football, basketball comes in with a number of expectations and demands. So a player must be able to handle all these expectations in order to bring out positive performance and results. So when we talk of self-management in sport, we are majorly looking at situations involving a player or an athlete or sports person being able to control impulsive feelings. Now, these are the inner feelings about situations in sport and behavior so as to improve his or her performance levels. So remember, with intelligence and emotions, these are inner feelings. So we are looking at situations that help a player control and manage his inner feelings towards sports situations and be able to bring out positive performance. That's how I can briefly explain what self-management in sport is.
Yeah, and which is very important. The word impulsive is very important to understand because it is very dangerous as a kind of as a way of response towards the world's event. Someone needs to learn how to put and to utilize that gap between the event and the decision they are going to make. The challenge is that if they are so close for a person, they will definitely lose control. So everyone who is watching us, it is very important, not just for a sports person, although we are talking about them. Try to master the art of utilizing the gap between your reaction, your response to the event. So I believe by the end of this show, you will have understood many things. But there is something on my mind right now, Mr. Hamza, and it is a question: why self-management to you and to a sports person? Why is it very important?
Yeah, it's very important because as you come into the world of sport, remember we began this series with the talent. God has given this talent. You're a sportsman who plays football, basketball, badminton, etc. As you come into the world of sport, normally you have a goal. And these set goals help us to understand why it's important to understand self-management. Because after all, you're a person reacting to various situations because of expectations, demands, etc. So the goal of self-management is one to a sports person. It is meant to assist the sports person, player or athlete to engage in behaviors that engage positive performance and results. So we are molding this player to engage in only behavior, to react to only behavior that is likely to yield positive performance and results, because that's what people expect out of him or her.
Okay, very very interesting. We have a few comments from Nambari Ramona. Thanks for joining. And those who are asking which topic, I believe you already now know which topic that we are discussing today. Mr. Hamza, to me, it seems like after understanding yourself or developing more self-awareness is just the beginning of a very very long and hectic journey, a journey where you will need experts to help you. And I believe today you have some of the things or the skills you would advise or encourage the sports people to adopt or work on to be able to develop this very important skill of self management. I understand there are many, and the topic is very complex. You know, when you are managing behavior, there are many theories out there. Okay, and anyone can adopt any model they want. Some people would love to attack the point from a cognitive therapy, behavior therapy. Others from many others actually prefer NLP, neuro linguistic programming. But now, how can a simple sports person, and by simple I don't mean to demean or undermine anyone, but how can, in simple terms, how can someone, or which kind of skills that a person might need to be able to develop this very important skill of self-management? I believe you have some for us today.
Yeah, that's where major we are going to focus our discussion. We're looking at a player, and I may say we're even looking at a coach. And this coach must be able to train this player to adapt certain skills. Or the player himself must be able to adapt certain skills that will help him perform better. However different the environment may be, however unique the environment may be, these are skills he or she must have in order to bring positive results. While discussing this, we shall look at various examples from various sport, various people, to make it look simple. But it is a task you must develop as a player, or a coach must be aware of in order to bring out positive performance and results among his players or team. So majorly we can summarize it by focusing on self-management skills in sport. The skills you must have in order to perform any sport you do to its peak for positive results and performance. So we shall look at skill number 1, problem solving. This looks general, but I'll start at bringing scenarios that require one to have a problem solving skill. Game number 1, game number 1, football. All of us have seen players attacking a team that does more defensive work. We're in a scenario where you're one player trying to beat 4 people. That is already a problem created for you. You are facing a team that has a very good goalkeeper. That is already a problem created for you. You are playing basketball, we know it includes blocking and many other things. Already that is a problem created. Being world best player and the matches, that is already a problem created for you. So we are looking at a player on a field of play. And what do we mean? Problem solving involves a systematic decision to exert control over an environment. How do you, as a player, make yourself dominant
Mr. Hamza?
in your area of specialty? Yes?
Sorry, I think the network got cut a little bit. If you may please come again. The last part.
Okay, we are saying problem solving in sport involves a player making systematic decisions to exert control over the environment or field of play. In other words, we are looking at you as a player. How do you make yourself dominant in your area of specialty? How do you become the best basketball player? How do you become the best, maybe midfielder? How do you dominate your zone, your sporting zone? And among the skills you must have, are you able to create space for yourself in a congested area? If it is football, can you dribble? Can you move with the ball? Can you pass over defenders? If it is basketball, can you try to create space? So creating space on the field of play is a very hard thing of recent, because various teams have been built to be able to block such spaces. So you need this problem solving skill in order to create space, because the more spaces you create on a field of play or identifying spaces, you're opening up to a positive result, scoring more goals, scoring more points. So that's how the problem solving skill in sport becomes vital.
Very, very, very impressive. I've never heard anyone talk about problem solving in that manner, especially in this in on a football pitch where you're facing a real challenge. And I find that very interesting, because if you lack that, I don't think you can even play.
Of recent,
Most
because
of
it is
us,
more of attacking football, you can't play, because without
yeah.
space, no goals.
Yeah, definitely, because these people are trained to match very well, and if you cannot develop that skill of looking at it as a problem, you remind me of our mathematics classes. Now I think this is the time they become useful, or at least the natural genius to for a person or a football player to be a good problem solver. But we are now looking at it as a skill someone can develop, so we do not have any excuses here that I cannot learn it. It is really very impressive. We have a few comments from our viewers, if I may read them. I don't know what Sister Mona is saying, but identifying your needs and differentiate them Identify your needs, differentiate them from your wants, focus on the needs, and make practice regularly. I think we shall be discussing a few of these things. Do not be carried away by negative energy and voices. Look forward to the best always, even when you fail. See good in it. I mean, and she has very, very powerful insights here. Thank you, Sister Mona, and everyone else who is watching. We have Councillor Haruna Kasoro. Kasoze, I think you know that gentleman. He is watching with us. We are privileged to have you on our show, Mr. Councillor. But now, that is one problem. That is one skill, problem solving. And I understand every skill you're mentioning might take seminars to be able to understand even better. But Mr. Hamza, what he is doing today is just showing you the areas you need to work on. You cannot solve a problem, and it is known, I think, even in our lives, Mr. Hamza. When you cannot solve a problem, you become emotional, so you become impulsive because
Yeah.
it becomes your your natural instinct of wanting to save yourself kicks in. Since you have no rational reasoning, you are definitely going to be overridden by your emotional natural instinct to survive. And that is not a very good place for a football player when all eyes are on you and you're working with the team. Yeah. So, which other skill should the football players or any athlete focus on?
As you've stated it, the more you fail to beat opponents, whether it is boxing, you are failing to solve a problem. Now, this brings us to skill number 2, resisting stress. How do I link this to sport? Each sport has game time. Football 90 minutes, boxing 15 minutes, volleyball almost minuteless, but at least there are times for each game. Now, the more these players fail to solve a problem, the more they are stressed. But we've seen it happen in sport where towards the end, one is able to sprint and win a race, a team scoring in extra time or added time, etc. So resisting stress is a skill in itself. And what does it mean in the world of sport? This involves all actions or behaviors. Okay, defining stress involves all action or behaviors that negatively affect performance. Now, how can we do away with all these? By one, training. Carrying out training to deal with the stress. All of you have seen training session in sport that involve fun engagements. You are trying to revive the players' brains towards positivity, training more into positive sessions. If those who train football know, normally there are games they organize on training fields that involve scoring more. One who scores a goal, the team goes off. They are normally small-sided games. But what we need to know is to find out what brings about this. What brings stress on a field of play or in a team? One, interpersonal conflicts. Remember, you are handling people. And naturally, where we have more than one person, because of the different characters and behaviors, we can have internal or interpersonal conflicts within a team. Another area we can look at, the training content. At times, a coach may come up with content that does not suit all players. So these people can't fit in, end up developing stress. Then training issues, we can look at the timing. You may find that some players are adapted to different times. So if we have all these schedules not in line with someone's character and behavior, it affects performance and it results into stress. Hence, developing negative emotions, which negative emotions bring negative results, yet all along all we want. So we are saying, can we build this player to adapt to situations? If there is a conflict, how do you react? If the training schedule does not favor you, how do you react to it? By developing bonds for positivity in these players, then positive performance and results will come along.
Well, you wonderful. You have just reminded me of something, and I think this is the point where we need to mention that understanding and acknowledging the fact that you're stressed really matters, because we are not at a point now where you are you have the guts to deny the fact that you're stressed, because then you will not be able to do anything about it. And talking about self-awareness, they usually talk about as well mindfulness, your ability to understand what is going on inside you, and so you can do something about it. You can find a way of calming yourself down. So talking about stress, and at this I'm not a very good sports person, but I understand it has to be very stressing to fit in. That was a very big term you used, and I would love you to talk about it a little bit more. Fitting in, what does it mean for a sports person? Because I assume coming from one football club, for example, or I mean, and joining a new, for example, a football club, or being new, the feeling of being new, I mean, how does it, how do player, I mean, sports people usually take it, Mr. Hamza?
Yeah, fitting in cuts across a number of things. One is changing a team from one team to the other. Two, being promoted, maybe from the junior team to the senior team. All this scenario brings in a fitting in situation. One, or being kind of summoned for the national team. So fitting in all involves going into a different environment. So it comes with a number of challenges. Adapting to new training methods at that level or a different club, adapting to different diet, adapting to different climatic regions and zones and timings, adapting to a number of new things in the environment. All these negatively will cause stress to any player, whether boxing, football, or basketball. But now, do you have the skill to adapt to it? How do you move on? One, as a player, you can have a personal coach who guides you through this. We've seen it in Europe. Many players come from South America. When they join the European continent, one of the situations to sort the fitting in effect is going for the new language courses or classes. You come from a French speaking nation. When you arrive maybe in England, they take you to the English classes. Why? To ease your communication with the friends. Then two, for diet sessions, they normally encourage you to come along with the family, so that at home they continue preparing for you a meal that is true to your culture. So all of these, they are trying to reduce the stress levels so that you can perform better.
Wow, that was really wonderful. I believe we can, those who are not sports people here might find a way of using the same thing, because adapting and fitting in is really very devastating. It can be very devastating. And I believe even in other fields, schools, hospitals, I think every profession or every day-to-day life, fitting in has become a very challenging thing, especially with the globalization and modernity. We are so kind of messed up. We have a few people who have just joined us. Someone is saying, I had to load a lot of data to see my daddy and Mr. Junju. I think you remember this one.
Eh?
Razia,
Okay.
she's a good kid. Thanks for being here. This is the place you should be. This is a place you should enjoy being, and we're glad that you're here. Aisha, thanks for joining. Nantal Zowena, walaikum salam. Madina, thanks for being here. Everyone who is watching, we are discussing self-management, and up to now, we have so far looked at a few skills. Skill number one, just to remind you, we looked at problem solving and why it is very important for you to develop this skill. Why? Because you will then have a logical way to handle your problem, and you will not be reacting impulsively, whether on the pitch or in the changing room. And we have stress management. It is very important. Mr. Hamza talked about resisting stress. Okay, and that is a level that is very
Hello?
advanced in my. Hello, can you hear
Hello?
me now? Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you, sir.
So we can go to the skill number three, I think.
Okay, that
Can we
is
move
it
to skill
for.
number three?
Yeah, it is okay. After stress management, we're looking at
Hello?
skill number three.
Hello?
Yes, please. Can you hear me? Okay. As we wait for Mr. Hamza to come back, I believe not only us need him. Let me see if he's back.
Hello.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
please. Can you hear me?
I hear you now. Your network was breaking.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So I think
No
we can
problem.
talk of skill number 3.
Mhm.
So skill number 3 is communicating clearly. As it states,
Mhm.
being able to communicate clearly. Now, communicating clearly involves the art of a player successfully passing on meaningful information to boost performance. Can you, as a player, communicate your goals, your targets, your frustrations, and your feelings? Who do you communicate to? Your leaders in the team, the captain, the coach, etc.
Mhm.
Why is communicating clearly very important? Because it takes us back. If you realize the topics are chronological, it will
Mhm.
simplify our problem solving situations and
Mhm.
it will help us relieve stress. All of us know in sport communication is clear, sorry. Because even in boxing, as you're in that ring, you must be able to communicate clearly to your coach using signals and being able to listen to what is passing on. On the field of play, like team sport, like football, you must be communicating to each other. One, either to maintain the system of play or when to attack. If you're taking a corner, how do you communicate to your friends so that they know? Those who watch football, you normally see players. When they are taking a corner, at times they raise the hand fully. It is signal to players, maybe I'm hitting it at the far post. And at times he puts the arm down to tell you he's hitting it on the near post.
Mhm.
Volleyballers, we've seen communication, people who spike the ball well, all of the three jumping up to signal it's time to spike. So communicating clearly to coaches, to fellow players is very important in sport. And it is a skill every player must have. This will ease his problem solving situations, resisting stress, and in the end, he will be able to perform better, positively, bringing in positive results.
Great, great. It seems to me that on the football pitch, for any person, they would need to read more than just words.
Yeah.
So communication shall involve a lot of body language, a lot of sign language, and you need to be able to understand all this, because one simple misreading of a sign might mean that you're going to lose or you're going to win. And especially when you have stress, especially when you need to troubleshoot, because anyway, communication is
It's
very
broad.
well known. It is
Mm.
very broad,
Yeah.
and I think this all is preparing us and our viewers, because, like you know, Mr. Hamza, we are working on an offline meeting sessions to be able to speak and share more and interact one on one, or in our group coaching sessions, to be able to help these young football or athletes. It is very important, because this is not all, but all in all, it is good for someone to make research.
Yeah.
So that is it for communication. Unless there is a question here or contribution from our viewers, let me see. Positive communication with others. Sister Mona is like that. And let me see. Madina, what are you saying? Jemba, I think you need to. Okay. Please invite all these young men and women who are interested in sport. We are talking facts. We are not on the pitch, but these are things that they will wish to have known in the future if they don't attend now, because they are the things that develop professionalism, and they are the things that will matter in the end. Let us continue, Mr. Hamza. There is no question so far.
So another skill that is vital is strengthening memory. Still, it is chronological. Can you still strengthen your problem solving skill, strengthen methods to solve stress, being able to strengthen the positive communication, as Nambali puts it. Now, what is strengthening memory or imagery? This involves it involves acts like diet, exercise, and cognitive therapy. This is what we talked about in the introduction by a sports person. Now, whatever we are saying, you must be positive towards it. If you act positive towards it, it brings positive performance. If you react negatively towards it, your performance goes down. Now, what does strengthening memory help? This boosts the player's ability to decision making. Because when you are able to do the right decisions at the right time, you have good performances, problem solving, because you are developing the mind. If you have a good diet, we know bodybuilding foods, the diet is for sports, eating a lot of proteins to boost muscle development, it is and energy levels. And examples of such simple things that boost memory or strengthen memory is having enough sleep or enough rest. So if you rest enough, you are developing imagery. The brain will bring back memories at training, what you are trying to do, how you can perfect it, how you can do a number of things. All of us have experienced this. When you rest enough, you are able to recoup everything that you are able to do. So you are developing the mind to understanding situations. And it can even happen on the field of play, where you are trying to dribble over something, then the memory brings you the solution to it because you practiced it earlier. Then sleeping early, because those are two different aspects now. Having enough rest and sleeping early. Sleeping early, as we discussed it, I think, in the first topics, helps you to deal with the negatives, like going into bars, taking a lot of alcohol. In other words, you're doing away with a number of negative behavior. But strengthening memory, we are looking at how you're able to bring back training sessions that help you look at situation per situation in order to perform better on the field of play.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful words so far. Thank you very much, Mr. Hamza. How memory can really help, and exercising your memory can really help a football person. There is someone who I would actually recommend. I've followed him. He's one of the best brain coaches, and he has a very good, very, very good course, like videos on YouTube and on his site, Jim Quick. I think you've come across this person, this gentleman, and specifically, I'm singling out that particular series of videos because they talk about brain diet with some PhD lady of neuroscience. It is very important. And when you talked about someone being in sleep and things happening, most of our people are not aware that most of the things that happen during day should have happened during sleep. It's just that we forget what happened. So sleeping is very vital because this is the time your subconscious will have to arrange and organize everything that is important for you and give you the solutions you never had. So it is very important. And as Mr. Hamza was talking about it, I had never thought about it in terms of sport. But now, clearly, for a sports person, they should rest. I think resting is also good for muscles. You can tell me.
Yeah, it's good for for muscle build because anyway, the whole body growth and development requires enough sleep because it is during the night that dieting takes place very well. And remember, the food we eat is for specific parts of the body. So now the body has the time to take in whatever belongs to it and do away with whatever it doesn't want. So that's why we are saying now the muscles have enough time to develop. Why? Normally in sport, you involve a lot of knocks to various body parts and muscles. So it helps build new muscles and promote the healing process to take place naturally. Because when God created a body, it is able to heal itself in a natural state using the diet you eat. So when the body is at rest now, it has time. Because during the day, it is supporting you in a number of activities. As you are resting now, it has to undergo what we normally call service. It services itself because of the food you are able to consume. So it will involve, as you've said, brain development, muscle growth, muscle recovery, muscle regaining, a number of things.
Diet is really important. Do you think when we talk, let us be a little bit practical. When you look at our people at home, especially those involved in sport, do they know what diet means? Do they, or we need to sensitize a little bit more?
Yes. Okay, I will speak in the aspect of Africa. We have all of the foods we need, but the missing link has been who handles diet at a sports club. Do clubs have nutritionists? Do we value them? That is the missing jinx in Africa majorly. But majority teams are adapting to it. I was at Super Sport. They have a nutritionist who handles their diet as a club, and he does tests on deficiencies of various players and recommending them to do a number of aspects in line of diet. And it's what it is coming here now. That's why normally, if you watch underage tournaments in football, boxing, etc., you may find that Europeans have better developed bodies than Africans. And in most cases, we end up saying they are older. But they know the demands of the game, and each age group has specified diet conditions in order to develop a body that can bring positive results on a pitch of play. Yes.
Well, that was very wonderful. We have, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to take you back a little bit to stress management. Someone is asking, Zulaika is asking, when I have some stress, am I allowed to go onto the football
On the field.
Yeah, on the field. Yeah.
There are two scenarios there. If it is match day, you are not allowed.
Why?
If it is training, you are allowed, because we can design training sessions that can help you relieve stress. On match day, we are looking for a result. So if you are fully stressed and you communicate clearly, you are stressed, any professional coach won't name you in his team for the day, because already the body is broken down and it can't bring. So if you are stressed and you go for training, it is fine, because their session is designed to help you recover from the stress. But on a match day, it is not advised.
Wonderful. I think, Zulaika, that is the best of the answers you'll ever have to listen from any expert. Thank you, Mr. Hamza. I see Brother Fauz Sebunya. Thanks for joining us. Nambara is saying adopt to healthy feeding. That is very important. I think we should continue.
Another skill that's vital we can talk about is managing time in sport, and it is a skill. And what does managing time mean? This involves conscious control. We should note that. Conscious control of time spent on specific activities by a player to boost performance and results. What is vital here to note is that managing time improves decision making and reduces errors. Now, I will take you to any sport. Naturally, every person has a strength, like we discussed, I think, last week, self-awareness. You need to improve your weaker side as you keep perfecting your stronger side. In sport still, you must manage the game very well. There are normally opportunities that come into a game that we normally consider as almost points scored or something like it to give you an advantage, like penalties in the game of football and basketball, like corner kicks. In other words, now these are things that come in a game, and when opportunity comes, it's better you utilize them, because open chances are hard to find by. Now, what does it mean? On a training field, do you give specific time to search so that players are able to perfect situations? Because in most cases, they are given by the referee or the umpire, because you've been maybe fouled or the other team has played poor against you. So penalties, corner kicks, free kicks, that is in football. Basketball, we have these open play penalties. In boxing, there are moments you realize the other person has lost control. Can you knock him out? Now, these are basics you must practice. They come into managing time. That's why we are saying Managing time in sport involves cautious control of time spent on a specific activity by a player to boost performance and result. So can you easily keep perfecting on a training pitch such moments, one against ones, counter attacks? These are things that come once in a game, and if you practice them, and I will give you, when Arsenal took that unbeaten record, playing over 42 games unbeaten, these people were able to run 100, because the pitch is normal 100 meters, to make a count of 100 meters in 7 seconds. Arsenal was
Wow.
running from one goal to the other. In a twist of 7 seconds, they're on your goal. So these are the moments now we are saying. And there were like 4 players. We had Henry, Wiltord, Perez, and Lumberg of recent, who has been coaching Arsenal, sprinting to the fullest, that within a moment they were at your goal to score. Now, all of this is what we are calling managing time in sport. Using a particular time to perfect and effect a result you want from a moment. It is a free kick time. Beckham comes in, does the needful. It is a moment you are loosening up in boxing, then Michael Tyson realizes, hits you hard with a knockout. It is volleyball. You realize the other people's positioning is messy, you spike hard. So sport and managing time involves identifying moments and effecting them to bring a result.
Wow, wow, that is quite a very nice insight, Mr. Hamza. When I look at it personally, it is like you're saying, it is not about how much time we have or we are given on the football pitch or any game. It is about how effective you and how prepared you are to use that particular time. And I think that takes us to the relativity theories. Hmm? Because uh, we are seeing countries, when we go a little bit into politics, we're seeing countries that were not developed 50 years back. We have been granted the same time, but they have utilized their time like right now we are like in a different century. So when you look at us and you look at some parts of the world, it is like, yes, we are living the same time, 2020, but not really the same century. We are in a very different time zone because uh, some of us have mastered the art of understanding how much time can do. And I think on a football pitch, the 90 minutes might be a lot more for any prepared team or any prepared player if they have trained, because you can imagine running in 5 seconds from goal to goal or 7 seconds from goal to goal. That is using time not in any way that we have known, and definitely those are not 90 minutes for Arsenal. Then it is a lot more. And if we do not manage time on the pitch, I like it. Even in our lives, if you do not manage your time and do not know what to do and when, you have not practiced, you're just subjecting your entire life to be dictated by sheer luck, then you cannot do anything. Thanks for that explanation, Mr. Hamza. I think Joelia, you have just joined. Walaikum salam. We're almost ending. Where have you been, my sister? But anyway, we shall do a summary. Mr. Hamza, we shall ask you to do a summary at the end, but we can continue for now.
So the last skill of the day, and this will bring in all other skills, exercising often, because exercising is part of practice. So what is exercising? This involves the body and mental exertions or exercises or actions by a player for the sake of better health, for positive performance and results. So why does a team do training? Why does a player carry out training? Step 1 is to attain better health. As we said, this body was created by God in a certain state. Now, when it was created, exercise helps it perform better. Like all artificial computers we use, cars we drive, it is now the servicing. Now, as we train the body, we are putting it in a better shape, mentally and the physical body, to better health. Which better health? brings in positive performance and results. Now, as you train or exercise oftenly, you get improved reaction to time. We've just talked about to time. And to take you back to football, you don't need to run with the ball. The counter attacks don't involve everybody running with the ball, but moving on time to various spaces and zones. Remember, we talked of space in the beginning, so that one is able to pass over to another person, to another person. So now in football, we look at the ball movement, not individual. The people move into space to ease. It's like a chain. It is a chain of movements. Everyone covers a smaller space, but the smaller space covered by everyone results into team movement from one zone to another. So exercising helps. 1, improve the reaction to time. 2, power moves. That's why you have power exercises. There are situations that require a little bit of power. 3, cardiovascular functions. This is all about the heart. The heart is the engine of the body because it takes in the blood, because the body needs oxygen. But the oxygen is very important. Now, as the body pumps in more oxygen into your body, the more you are able to perform better. So the more you exercise, you're helping the heart perform better, meaning it will pump more blood into your body, which more blood comes with a lot of oxygen. And the availability of more oxygen into your body brings better body performance and decision making. So the more you exercise, you're putting the body into a shape to perform better. That's why in all sport, exercising is part and parcel of every aspect of a team.
So exercising is a way to increase the amount of oxygen that your body is taking in.
Yeah.
Because I like you've just stated it, in a way, it is the same thing you will have to use in problem solving. You cannot think when you're short of oxygen.
Yes.
That was a very wonderful insight. We have Mujuni walaikum salam. Sheikh, I'm sorry, no worries. We understand all of you are busy, but you can always come in. You can ask your questions. You can always rewatch. We have just concluded the last skill, and remember, we said this is just giving you the tips, but now you need training. You need to make more research. I think we talked about research in the previous webinars, Mr. Hamza. So these are clues. This is an arrangement you were supposed to find very expensive if you're to do it yourself, but it is right here. And Mr. Hamza is going to summarize everything for you so you can now make your research. You can reach out for consulting. And Mr. Hamza is available. I am available to see how we can really help one another to move to the next level. Yeah, Mr. Hamza.
Yes.
It has been quite a nice session. Thank you very much. What can we say in the end?
So to summarize, we are saying today we discussed especially it's all about self-management, and under self-management we are looking at a sports player, someone who plays sports or an athlete. And we started by simply defining what self-management in sport is all about. And we said a number of, or in simple terms, we said self-management in sport involves the player being able to control impulsive feelings and behaviors to improve his performance or performance levels. And today we are looking at skills that help you improve your personal performance. Under these, we looked at problem solving, and we said sport brings a lot of problems, especially on the field of play. And we highlighted the one of creating space, being able to beat your opponents at every situation. By beating them, you are able to solve a number of problems within. And problem solving makes you dominant in your zone. That's why we are able to have the best players in the world in every sport, because they have been able to dominate and hit all problems surrounding that environment. 2, we highlighted resisting stress. In this, we said that you must analyze what brings stress, the stress factor into sport, interpersonal conflicts on the field of play and in a team, the training content, failure to understand that, or even in a match situation, failing to beat your opponent can result into stress. So what do you need to do to put this clear to you? We have stress management exercises in a team and being able to adapt to situations. Then we analyzed the communication skill, and we said the way you communicate to teammates. We are encouraging more positive communication. Tell your friend, do this, improve this, so that you are able to bring out Can you communicate your targets very well? Today we are on a match day, our target is to win by this margin. It helps you drive into the same direction. Managing time. We looked at time in a sporting way. Being able to effectively do something in a particular moment, because the sport is about moments, and be able to practice about those moments. If it is football, free kicks. If it is boxing, how many times do you practice knockout situations? If it is volleyball, how many moments do you use in spiking? So because these moments come in a game naturally, and you need to use them very well. Strengthening memory. We said memory is used for recovery. When you rest off, the memory is able to bring back situations that are open to you to learn more, to interpret more. So strengthening memory through diet, exercising, etc. And lastly, we broadened up the exercising aspect, and we had to realize what is the importance of exercising. Exercising helps one to build better health that later results into better performance. And this will pave way for things like power exercises to handle power situations in a game, cardiovascular exercises to improve your oxygen levels to be able to sustain the time period of the game. That's what we discussed today.
Thank you very much for that quick summary. I believe if someone only watched that, it would be enough for them. Well, we have a few, let me see, questions. Joeria, let me see. Sheikh, I'm off topic, but you didn't answer my question that I asked you. I waited for a response on. Joelia, this is a very different show, my dear, but I'm going to respond to your question on the other platform, 1 minute series, Soul Cocktail. We're at Excellentia. We're discussing something very interesting as well, sport and how to boost talent, how to manage it. Today we are talking about self-management for a sports personality, but I will definitely respond to this. Thank you very much. Zuleika, wow, I like the explanation. Thanks, Sheikh. And Mr. Hamza there, Zuleika is thanking you for that explanation. Thank you very much, Zuleika. We are preparing to have offline sessions, okay? And they will be starting soon. So we shall be meeting you regularly, inshallah, and we shall be working on quite a number of different things together with you. Madina, thanks for the show. She's thanking you. Joeria, yeah, I think you've understood that. So, Mr. Hamza, I think today people have understood quite pretty much, so they do not have many questions, but I believe they would adhere to that advice you've just conveyed. And I would love to thank you as usual, because
Yeah.
this is it is always an honor to have you, Mr. Hamza. You're busy, you are, but you've been consistent. You're here to give. Your heart to give supersedes every schedule that you have, and we thank you for that. I will send greetings to one of the people who is watching, Dr. Kais El Ganuni, the president of Excellentia. Uh, right now, he's in Saudi. Thanks for watching, sir. Thanks for following. Thanks for giving us this time to watch and follow. Okay, okay, Madam Lost. Yeah, I think you have it now, Mujuni, Julie. And these webinars stay here, right on this page. You can always come back and watch them. I think you should emphasize the fact that people need to learn, to give time to learn, Mr. Hamza. Because if they don't do that, I don't know what will happen for them.
It's all about research, dedicating yourself. We are lucky we're in a day-to-day world where internet is there for us to read about a few things. And people should always send in weekly questions to simplify our discussions so that we can help hit the very problems people face in these aspects. But I also think later on, as we had agreed, we develop a way. We can create a WhatsApp group where people who are comfortable can submit in their numbers, and we have other group discussions within.
Yeah.
So I think we shall develop a number, a WhatsApp number, always promote it here for people to follow.
Okay, let me see. I believe our guest got a little bit disturbed there, but Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can get him back. All right, Mr. Hamza, you're back, please.
I was of the view create a WhatsApp number where people can always, we can have other group discussions as we grow better. These
Yeah,
sessions, yeah.
we're definitely going to do that. We're working on a better platform to see how we can really interact and be able to handle these specific matters in a better way. But otherwise, thank you. What should our people expect next Saturday, Mr. Hamza?
Next, social skills. I think we shall discuss social skills in the
Okay.
world of sport. Yeah.
All right. We are still talking about emotional intelligence, dear viewers, and these are just episodes that we are covering. Last week it was all about self awareness. This week has been about self management, and we shall be exploring what social skills mean in the next webinar, next Saturday, same time. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here, and see you next week. Thanks, Mr. Hamza.
Thank you.